multiplayer expert, so take this advice with a grain of salt. In regular naval battle, you will see line formations, all your fleets in singular or two-line formation. The problem with the line formation is that all your ships are pouring down their firepower to the left and right side, which is the broadside of the ships. The problem is that if you are using this formation, it is easier to penetrate through the enemy line if you want, like this. But if you cannot penetrate the line because of the enemy ships being too OP, for example, if you're French, if you're using French fleet, you cannot really go penetrate the British fleet. They have way better reload speed, they have way better hit points. So what we can do is, one of the features of the French fleet is that they have higher speed usually and higher accuracy. Low reload speed, but still, you know. So what I'm gonna do is try to align my fleet in horizontal fashion. Okay. Good. This is the basic formation. First line, which is the shipbuilder lines. Center of the line should be heavier ships, and outer side, if you go outer side, it would be lighter ship. In this case, I'm using third rate, which is the regular shipbuilder line. The reason for this is that the center has to, the whole point of this formation is that you have to keep this formation intact, and it shouldn't be penetrating through, because if that happens, then you're done. You're not gonna really benefit much and exploit much from this formation. So center should be strong ships with great firepower to stop the enemy fleets from penetrating your line. But the outer side, since enemy fleets are probably gonna be in singular line or two-line formation, for these ships on the outer side to engage the enemy, they have to move fast forward and form a bowl-like firing arc to concentrate the fire. So they have to move quickly. And if you ever play in multiplayer, I'm not a multiplayer expert, but if they try to use them frigates or steamships to flank around, it will be these guys should be intercepting those flanking forces. And if you have extra cash, you can hire some extra heavy frigates, steamships, and fifth rates, things like that, to counter the enemy flanking maneuvers and try to take out the possible enemy ships coming through the first line. Now, the second line. Second line is the most important part of this formation. Second lines are fire supporter ships. Fire supporter ships in Empire Total War and Napoleon Total War are, first, rocket ships, bomb catch. These ships can shoot over friendly line and has a way longer range. If you have used the rocket ships and bomb catch fire support ships in game, you might be disappointed with the amount of firepower they can put through, but the reason you are using fire support ship is that, first one, rocket ship, it can set enemy ships on fire. If the ship is on fire, it has to escape the combat, disengage from the combat completely, and stop the fire at will button to wait for the crew to put out the fire. If you fail to kill the fire, the whole ship's gonna blow up. In Napoleon Total War, you have a repair the ship button, so you can also use that. But common thing about those two, Empire Total War and Napoleon Total War game, is that if you want to put out the fire, you have to be out of the combat, you have to disengage. Now, second one, bomb catch. Bomb catch doesn't really set the enemy ship on fire that well, but it actually has a pretty good damage dealing capacity. For example, bomb catch is just a mortar ship. shoots a mortar, it's a cluster round. When it explodes, it's gonna spray its shrapnels all over the upper deck. And if it hits right, many of the guns on the upper deck are gonna be silenced, sometimes dealing silencing 6 or 8 guns at once. So it's a good way to do this. And having fire support ship acts like having artillery in ground battles. If you have superior artillery, enemy has to come to you, and you can just form a line, wait for them to come into your arc of fire. So let's start. First thing you want to do is, in the battle you would advance. Alright, advance the fleet. Once the second line, which the fire support ship fire, and the first line. Okay, once the fire support ships open fire, and when these first line ships get in range, their bow guns of the ships will open fire. That means that their broadside, and the enemy is in the range of your broadside also. So that's when you turn around and form a real line of fire. Yes, enemy has it. Yeah, that's the bow gun. So now we turn around quickly to form a line. Alright, this is the line. We're gonna hold this line, and since the second line fire support ships are pouring down fire also, we can utilize this. Oh, and don't try to proceed onto this formation. They can fire on us quite easily. Okay, looks like it's already. It's not fired. Rocket ships actually. But if this ship keeps getting hit by rockets on both sides, it's gonna. Oh, and another thing. Your back of your ship doesn't have any armor, it's just glasses inside. So if you're hitting here, you will take extra damage and you will actually get full shock. So try to avoid being hit from it. Now what I'm trying to do with the right wing here is that we're gonna follow this left wing here, which already has formed firing. One of the things you need to remember is that even if you have your ships grouped up in a group, don't use the whole group to command your ship. You have to command your ship one by one usually. If the bomb gets down, just pop up right here and storm the upper deck. It's gonna probably silence 5 to 6 guns at once. Okay, this is going well. One of the tips on moving your fleet is that you don't want to order them to far away. It's just up to let them, order them to move up to the location of the ship right in front of them. So if you want to move up your fleet, remember that we need to hold the position, maintain this formation. Yeah, that'll be good. And once if you want to stop the ships from moving, you can just click this drop anchor backspace. Oh, and make sure these two second line fire support ships, make sure they don't get hit by anything. If you open up the database, they don't have any armor to their ships, so it's really easy for them to get blown up by single broadside barrage from ship line, or even frigates. Oh, they're going back, so I'm going to try to set up a defensive arc here. There's two ships. There's two ships going up. Also, another thing you have to know is that we can't proceed onto this direction because we are moving towards the wind direction. Sorry, well, we are in favor of the wind direction as we move forward. If we were going against the wind, we could have been able to move this way. Okay, another thing if you don't know anything about when they are too damaged, like this one was flickering, they first grab it, try to run away, and then if you keep pressuring upon them or they catch on fire and they have to take out the fire, the ship's gonna blow up, they're gonna surrender. Once they surrender, and they're not gonna come back to the fight. But even if they surrender, if they're on fire and they fail to put out the fire, they're probably gonna explode. Make sure you don't move your fire support ships in front of the front line. They're gonna get blown up so easy. Looks like they're trying to go for a long flank around. They're trying to. You might wonder why AI isn't just rushing towards me, but trying to hold the line. Is that one thing I realize is that as long as they're admiral, probably in the heaviest ship. Oh, this one right here. This one probably. As long as their admiral is still alive, they're not gonna break their formation and rush to you. Faster, they have better hit points on their ships. We don't want to get close to them. Oh, there you go. It's surrendered, but it's on fire. see the crew escaping. It's about there we go, about to blow up. See the bomb gets really good damage. Now the of the ship didn't really do much damage on the nearby ship, but it was a little bit closer. It could have got much damage or at least catching fire too.